Hey there! I'm so excited to bring these 4 exercises to you today for strength training. There's tons more we can do. I'm going to show you some variety with these exercises today. But this is a great beginning. And so what you're going to need for this workout is a heavy and a light dumbbell, or something that'll improvise for those 2 things. So a light thing, 2 dumbbells could be something like a couple of water bottles. A heavier thing could be a couple of water jugs, like milk containers that have been refilled with sand or water. If you're really wanting to go inexpensive on getting some equipment for at home just to get started. You can also, for some of these exercises, improvise, for instance with your squats, holding onto a baby or some other thing that's heavy, anything that's heavy. So the very first exercise we're going to do is a squat. You're going to have your feet just outside, hip width apart, toes pointed forward. You can turn your toes out slightly if that feels better on your knees. But the goal is to actually open your hips in a squat and to sit your weight back, keeping your chest up tall. So to show you from the front, we're going to actually start with just taking the hands forward. We're going to sit the hips behind you, keep the knees open wide, and sit as low as you can, keeping your chest up tall, and stand. So more importantly, what we're trying to do is get the hips way behind you. So you're going to line up those feet so we're straight apart, parallel with each other. Shoulders stay back. We're going to reach those hips back, right? So we don't want to sit here. We want to reach the hips back. Load the heels so my toes are going to wiggle into my shoes. Chest up tall. Keep those knees open. Sit as low as you can. And stand. Okay, so we're going to start with reps of 12. So just 12 squats here. If you want to add a little bit of weight, we're going to hold a dumbbell right at your chest. So the front squat is probably the best way to counterbalance the weight of your body going back. So you're going to hold it vertical, fingertips over the top, bringing the weight right to your chest, elbows stay lifted, sitting straight back, and standing, making sure your chest does not round at the top when you're getting into your low position. Okay, so 12 reps here, doing a nice good squat. You can also hold this in more of an anchor position, so just holding it vertical to the floor, same thing, touching down to the ground with the dumbbell, or if you're at the gym, you could be using a kettlebell, any of those sorts of things. So those are a couple of variations on the squat. From there, and obviously you want to make it as hard as you can for the 12 reps. So trying to get to where at the end of what we're going to do, which would be 3 sets of 12, that last set of 12 in your 3rd set feels really, really challenging. That's what we want to see in our exercises for strengthening. The next exercise is going to be a push-up. So we want to make sure that we're doing a push-up with good form. So a good form push-up is something where we want to make sure the shoulder blades are coming into the back, and the elbows are coming out about chest height, so we don't want to be winging high, and we're making sure we're keeping a straight line between our shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. So I'll show you what a bad push-up looks like first. So I'm going to actually do it from the box, and so you could use a coffee table, the edge of the couch, or a bench at the gym. So having the hands around the sides here, we're going to position ourselves right over the wrists, body straight. So if I were to do an improper push-up, I might let my hips sag, or I'm going to be tenting way up here. Maybe I tuck my elbows way in, or a little wing way out, or we're rounded in the back. So everything's stiff, shoulder blades in, tuck tail under slightly. We're going to take the chest right between the wrists, and then press straight away. Okay, so you'll notice I didn't let anything change in my lower body. Just pressing through those arms, okay? So getting low is important in a push-up to make sure we're accessing all the muscles of the upper body. So if you can't get low, increase the height of the bench. You can even do these off of a wall. Kneeling push-ups are fine, so coming from the knees to do a push-up, but we're losing a little bit of that challenge on the core when we push up from the knees. So still making sure we keep those hips in line from shoulders to knees as well is important. So the next exercise we're going to do is for the lower body again. This is your lunge. So we'll start with no weight, and I just want to kind of give you a sense of how to do a proper lunge. There's a lot more to a lunge than people think. And we've done some reverse lunging in your last video, and today we're going to do just a standing lunge. So 1 foot forward, the other foot back. We want to kind of make sure we've got a gap between our feet still. So we don't want to be in a straight line, making sure we're kind of wide here. We're going to get that foot wiggled back heel up off the ground, so we're going to be really tall through the hips, but most of the weight is on this front foot. Then we're going to slide straight down to the floor, keeping this knee angled right over the ankle. We don't want to see anything winging in, okay? straight down, straight up, pressing into this heel to lift the body up. Okay, so you'll feel this back of this leg, glute and hamstring, and both quads. Ideally, kind of equally through all those areas, maybe even a little bit more on this hip. Okay, so I'm going to show you that from the side, because the other thing we want to do is make sure that this front knee is not coming forward over the toe. So if you look at my front shin, my chest tall, I'm going to be going straight up and down, and that front shin doesn't move a whole lot forward and back. And that happens because I'm letting this back foot kind of lift up out of the floor. Okay, so I'm coming down. I have a tendency to hit my knee to the floor. You don't have to get that far down. Just make sure you're going as low as you can, using this front leg to pull the body up away from the floor. All right, so that's the lunge. On the lunge, same thing, you can add resistance by holding the weight right at your chest. Here, straight down, straight up. You can also hold 2 dumbbells in each hand, or like I'm doing, hold 1 dumbbell in a hand. You'll notice a big difference if you go to the opposite side of that front foot, challenging your core much more, which is a kind of added bonus for lunges as well. Okay, so it's ways you can change it up. So, our final exercise looks a lot like a push-up, but we're going to be working the shoulders a lot more and the core. So you're going to want, eventually, some kind of a dumbbell. But for now, we're going to learn how to do this without it. So the weight is going to be right underneath your shoulders. So I'll do this at a little bit of an angle so you can kind of see what I'm doing with my core. So hands are right underneath the shoulders, bodies stiff as a board in a plank position. Okay, so shoulders tuck in a little bit. Tuck that tail, pull the tummy up and away from the floor. We're going to take the weight, pull it into the shoulder, and reach it over the head. So to get started with this one, you may just want to take the hands and see if you can get stacked. Okay, so the hips staying down, reach the hand through from one side to the other. So if I were doing this with a weight, pull the weight through and reach. So if this feels too hard without the weight on the floor, and you're finding you need some help, same thing as the push-up, you're going to just take yourself up into an angle. So we're going to come up off. Same thing here, we're going to reach from that elevated position. Okay? The wider your feet are behind you, the easier this exercise is. You don't want to go feet together because then you won't be able to get that rotation. But hip width apart is where we kind of want to land when we're at our most difficult position. So those are your 4 exercises. That is it for your strength training for now. I want you to do a lower body and 2 upper body exercises and focus on those. 3 sets of 12. Because I want you to be able to feel like you can really do these with good form and get them fitting into your life. So it should only take you about 20 minutes to do this workout at most. Make sure you do a little bit of a warm-up and a cool down, and I'll see you next time.